This is a video for the Luke 140 Syndicate. Well, everyone, we took Luke down to Tryon, to the North Carolina, the Tryon International Equestrian Center, to compete in the 4-star short, which was sort of the premier class down there at Tryon. And it's sort of one of those competitions that I sort of wanted to be focused on and concentrating on, just because it was our final run before we take on the Maryland 5-star. And I have to say, Luke was absolutely superb, all 3 phases. It's almost the best he's ever been. This is obviously the dressage. We did the dressage test on Friday lunchtime. We got there on Thursday. I gave him a nice ride on Thursday, and then Friday morning I hopped on and schooled him a bit, and he was a little bit excited and wound up, but by the time we did our dressage test, he delivered a fantastic test. He won the dressage. He's got a score of 27, which I think is about 74%, which pretty competitive anywhere in the world. Luke is so seasoned at this level now. It's actually quite an easy test for him. Obviously there's can a half pass, shoulder in, halt, rein back, all flying changes, you name it. And Luke's a seasoned campaigner. The great thing with Luke is he can be, as you all know, he's a difficult horse to ride at home. I actually fell off him earlier in the week cross-country schooling. But when he gets to the competition, he seems to just settle down enough to... he actually is pretty impressive when you get to the show. Like he gets excited and he starts flicking his toes, and he put in a great performance. In the dresser, well, let's see, must have been about 30 horses in the class. There was a lot of the top horses in the country were using Tryon as their preparation event as they get ready for the 5-star at Maryland. And so we were in sort of thick company, and the 2 of the international judges. So it was sort of a good performance. Show jumping, he was excellent. Same sort of thing as the dressage. As you see in the moment, he warmed up a little bit distracted, and then when he went into the ring, he just took a breath and jumped fantastic. And the best news out of the whole weekend was the way he travelled for me in the cross country. I sort of been a little bit frustrated of the way I rode him at Kentucky 5-star. Like I was fighting with him a little bit too much, and then pulling back as I was getting to the jumps, and sort of might have been a blessing in disguise. I've had to sort of replan the way I ride him, and we changed his bridle around to have a little bit of a different setup with his bit and his noseband, and it just sort of makes him lighter as he comes to the fence. Don't get me wrong, he's still a bit of a handful, a little bit out of control, but generally speaking, he was very good. So after the dressage, show jumping, cross country, we finished in 2nd place. We were winning the dressage, winning after the show jumping, and then there was a Canadian rider on a French horse that she had a real fast round. I sort of pushed Luke at a quick speed where the ground was good, and then when the ground was twisty and downhill, I sort of protected him a little bit. So I wanted to practice riding at speed, but then the hardest thing is when you ride at speed is when you seem to injure them. So all the twisty turny parts of the course or the sharp downhills, I tried to slow right up. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is that we could have gone a lot faster and probably won the class if we chose to. But really I wanted a good fitness run and practice of trying to ride him at the jumps at pace. In the show jumping, he was wicked good. This would be one of my all-time favourite rounds of Luke in the show jumping. Peter Wild was good enough to come to the farm on Tuesday, and we had a good jumping session with Peter at the farm. It was a very simple training day, very simple exercises, and we just sort of worked on Luke's rideability. And to be honest, we didn't actually jump him that much. He was jumping so well in the training session. We really only had a short sort of 20-minute session with Peter. Luke's obviously a naturally careful, explosive, scopy jumper, and the biggest thing is to try and get to the jumps in a smooth way. Sort of, even though he's wild, you have to ride him quite delicately. If you kick him too much, then you have to pull him back too much, and gets a little bit difficult. But as you can see here, he was just fantastic around the whole track. Obviously, all roads lead towards Maryland 5-star. I feel like he's recovered well. We trotted him up this morning at the farm and he looks in good shape. We're going to get the vet to take a look at him in the next day or so, just to make sure everything's in good shape. But he seems like he's healthy, but sometimes it takes a couple of days for those niggling little injuries to show up. So touch wood, he's come through this okay. Between now and Maryland 5-star, I'll probably do one more cross-country school with him. Not that he needs to learn any new jumps, but just sort of practice the smooth riding. And I think that's going to be the key at Maryland 5-star, is to see if we can get through this course without sort of fighting him. And sometimes at the long 5-stars, it's actually a little bit easier because the jumps are more spread out, so you sort of don't have to be stopping and turning and twisting. And in a weird kind of way, this competition at Tryon was the sort of hardest type of course to ride Luke around, where it's sort of a bit of a twisty up and back track. The footing was very good. It's an old golf course, so they had a sprinkler system. Sometimes the ground's a little bit sort of, you're always on a camber, so I always get nervous of their ankles and tendons and ligaments when you're sort of galloping along. But we sort of have to, I talked to my vet and some of my mentors, and at some point we've got to sort of put the screws to Luke. So I thought this was a competition that's got reliable sort of soft footing, and at some point we've got to have a bit of a go. We've been sort of protecting Luke, obviously, at the at Bromont. We went around really slow around the 3-star, and this one here, I was a bit quicker and a little bit more gung-ho, but then in sections of the course I was a little bit cautious. Anyway, long story short, I think we're in good shape. I think we've got a real good chance at Maryland 5-star. I'd encourage anyone that's can get away for the weekend. It's a hell of a competition. Come cheer Luke on. I feel like we've got a good chance. I'll check in with you again soon.